I'm a travel agent, so I'm always looking for great deals. And I finally, last week, decided I wanted to upgrade because it's such a great service. And I wish I would have done it sooner because there's so much information. I mean, every day there's something new on there. So if you're even thinking about it, you should go for it right now. Don't wait.
I worked for JetBlue for 5 years, and so I know about airlines, and I kind of always have traveled and been a travel guru on some level. So I felt like, well, I'm not traveling the wrong way. I'm not doing things dumb. And then just joining the lounge and learning a better way to do things, being smarter about things, totally changed. And like I said, I definitely I did 7 trips. I don't think I could have afforded that otherwise.
If you had anything to give as advice for a skeptical free subscriber who hasn't upgraded yet, what would you say?
Don't be skeptical. It's real. It's legitimate. We are testimony right here. It's the truth. Seriously. Yeah. South Africa was a dream trip of ours, and we went 7 days. Amazing.
Here it is again.
This is a different seat. You can tell these are the ones that are straight on. And it was just as great too, honestly.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how you complain. And what's fun that I've learned in the lounge is I've learned about aircraft, and that is not something that I had ever known. And by knowing the things that I learned about aircrafts, I specifically could choose which airplane I'm going on. And so we wanted to try these ones to compare them to the other ones. But it's fun that you can do lay down seats right now, domestic.
Yes.
So this was Salt Lake to Atlanta every time.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
But I did the exact same amount of days at Alani that I did last time. So when I'm calculating out my calculations, it is dollar for dollar. Last time I spent about $10,000 to get out there with my flights, with my rental car, with our activities. This time I'm going rental car included. And as you guys know, rental cars are insane right now.
Yeah.
And I'm staying in Waikiki for 4 nights for free. I'm staying at Alani for 8 nights. And our whole trip is $1,600. And so that is insanely cheap. But because it was so cheap, it allowed me to travel more this summer. And I was like, okay, well, I can still travel more places. Let me figure out where else we want to go.
Hi, I'm John Paul.
And I'm James.
We just got back from our trip from Ohio. We were able to fly there using Just Get Out of Town's point hacking strategy.
Using this strategy, we were able to fly here for $0.
So thanks, Just Get Out of Town.
And if you try Just Get Out of Town's point hacking strategy, you too might be able to fly for incredibly cheap costs.
Yeah, and honestly, I still haven't been a big point chaser. I don't do tons of the stuff that they even suggest in there because I just haven't even done that. It still works for me without doing all the credit card stuff. So that's great.
The videos are so helpful to just get a better understanding and to get your feet wet.
Yes.
And I feel like the lounge is really for people who want to take things up, not just a level. It's like taking it up probably about 5 or 6 levels, and you just learn how to travel and bring everything all together and really learn to master how to go places on your own terms and what makes the most sense for you and your family.
Last one was on the trip. Somebody paid like $3,000.
Yeah, we actually saw someone on our flight, and she flew from San Francisco as well. We actually saw her in London because our connecting flight was in London, and yeah, she paid like $3,000 and didn't do half the things that we did just for herself. Yeah, she said it took her years to save the money, and I'm like, oh well, let me tell you about this site.
I asked people I met at the hotel what they were paying, and they were not in this room. They were just in basic rooms, and they almost paid double what I paid for this room, which thrilled me. Just so exciting. And it feels nice to be somewhere so fancy and not feel like I'm spending thousands and thousands of dollars to stay.
So thank you again for giving us the option to fly cheaply so we can go see the world, spend time with family and friends. Guys, if you're not using the service to get those cheap flights out to see people that you love and care about, do it. There's nothing stopping you, and it's the best. So thanks again, Joel, and thanks again, Jay Goot.
You never know what you'll find. I highly recommend you just sign up now. That way, when you see that good deal, you can click on it right away and it's not gone. They do go sometimes, especially those really good ones. So I say do it. Do it, do it, do it.
Hi, Joel.
Hey, Mia. How you doing?
How are you? Good.
I'm
Good. I'm a little
good.
tired. That was some fancy footwork to get all these fun videos going and everything. And here we are. We really have this down to a fine science.
Yeah.
What's in your wallet? That's what we're going to talk about today, right?
Yep, we are. This topic got inspired by a lot of conversations this week. We've started a free coaching program, and we talk with all sorts of people, beginners, veterans, everything. And man, I tell you, the it's very rewarding for the most part. Good conversations. We're helping people stretch their travel budgets farther, learn about the world of free travel. But some have been very tough discussions because we have a lot of people that have worked for years amassing piles and piles of the wrong points.
Right.
And it's just, there's no easy way to say it, but like they're getting robbed. I mean, they're loyal to a certain company. And I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was going to say I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but I am. I'm going to throw some companies under the bus today.
Okay,
because it's just like they're luring people to their airline or their hotel, and their points just aren't anywhere near worth as much as they could be. We're going to talk a lot about that today because I see a lot of it. I see people with hundreds of thousands of miles, if not millions of the wrong points. And so, of course, this is kind of a catchphrase, what's in your wallet. Mm-hmm. But no, this is not a plug for the company that hires lots of expensive actors to brag about their credit card.
You are on a soapbox already, and I am here for it today. This is a tough love conversation with Joel.
Yes, it is.
Put your
I sugarcoat it a lot of times, and I'll say, "Oh, that's great. We can still work with that, but man, we got to fix this."
Not today.
Like we got so many people that are loyal to Delta, or loyal to United, or loyal to Marriott. And sorry, Delta, sorry, Marriott, you guys are you just don't have valuable points.
This is a tough
could do a lot better
thing. Yeah.
And people who have Delta cards in their wallet, Marriott cards in their wallet, and are spending all their cash. I mean, yeah, you can get some free travel, but you could get way more. And today we're going to talk about that.
I like it. This is, like I said, tough love. And then also it's not throwing under the bus when you're telling the truth, Joel.
There we go.
I'm here to support you on that. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you don't know where you are, you're at the J. Good Village. We are teaching you how to travel much more fabulously for less. We have a lot of people in here already. So as always, as if you're returning, you know that the more that you comment, the better chance that you have to win the $100 travel savings card from J. Good. Joel, are you going to show it to us? Do your little Carol Merrill?
No, I didn't get to bring that up today.
It's here in theory, but you've seen it before.
$100 travel savings cards.
Yes.
Good for over 1 million hotels, car rental agencies, and my favorite use is excursions.
Yes.
I've used mine to save a couple $100 taking my daughter on a father-daughter scuba trip. And we went swimming with whale sharks, we went scuba diving, and used the savings card to cut that price down.
Here's the thing I love about the J. Goot way of travel is that you get to take more fun excursions because you have more money in your wallet, which is what we're going to talk about today. So let me just pull up a couple comments, the things that I love are seeing who's here, where they're from. Hi, Vicky. Gil is here. Hi, Latoya is back from Georgia, or she's here from Georgia. Nice to see you again. Jill is here from Indianapolis. All kinds of people all over the place. What I also like to hear too, is where you would like to travel to.
Ooh, yeah,
so where you're from and where you would like to travel to. What is your dream? Heather's here in Denver. What a gorgeous day it is here for us, right? We have LA. So Joel, are we just doing one gift card, or how many are we doing today?
Let's throw it out for Brooke to help us with a couple questions. I was literally just putting these slides together to the last minute, so I didn't get to throw some questions. But we always love participation. We love questions. So let's throw a couple contest questions out there.
Sounds good.
And we'll give those out during the call. And then we'll give one away randomly to one of our commenters. So the more comments you do, the more your chances of winning.
That sounds great. And we will give that last one away based on the name. Gil's here saying I have the American Miles, but he's not an AA hub. So these things are what happened to people as well. So we're going to figure out how to give you more time or more money, so then you just have to make up the time. You got to find the time to start traveling. That's been the biggest thing for our J Goot Lounge people. And we have a lot of loungers here. If you're not familiar with our lounge, that is our paid coaching program. We do talk about it throughout the show because that's when you really, that's when you get serious.
Yeah.
That's some serious travel.
here in J Goot Village, everything is free. We teach you the basic concepts of free travel to make sure that you're no longer procrastinating and thinking, oh, I got to research this. No, you don't. We actually have a 14-page guide, how to travel anywhere for free.
Yes.
You can find it pinned to the top of our Facebook group, or you can just comment free guide in the comments if you haven't seen that, and we can send that off to you. We're big believers in just don't keep procrastinating. Don't put this off. It literally takes 5 minutes. In fact, there's a video of me interviewing my mother-in-law where she talks about how it literally took her 5 minutes. She had been putting this off for years, and she finally just got a new card. Took her 5 minutes. And she got points worth several $1,000s.
The procrastination thing will get us every time. And then, I will say the other thing you have to deal with once you really start traveling the J Goot way is like, oh, why didn't I start earlier? You just have to get past that. And I think we've hit our 1-year anniversary for the lounge, right? For the travel.
Yeah. We started January 1st last year. And it's been just so rewarding. We get more testimonials in a week now from a very small amount of coaching clients than we used to get from hundreds of thousands of email subscribers. So it's been a great thing. We're very passionate about getting that word out. And again, the big thing is, the guide, it's free. And our whole philosophy with that is quit putting this off. As long as putting this off, if you travel, is kind of like putting off getting car insurance if you drive.
It's one of my favorite.
It's only a matter of time before you will need those points. And if you don't have them, you have no choice but to pay what the market will bear. Now, that's rule 2 of the J Goot way of travel. Always have points so that when you don't like the prices, you can travel anywhere for free. Now, the beauty of that is that when you have points, you have a choice. And you don't have to pay high costs for airfare or hotels if you don't want to. In fact, rule number 1, the first thing we do is we give our coaching clients a handout, and we say, print this and put this up on your wall. And these are the new prices that you have to pay. And
I'm going to
by
make you
having
solo
points,
for a second. Hold that up again. Just I'm going to put you solo so people see that. Yes, there we go.
And I didn't put these on slides. Sorry. So basically, we say don't pay more than these prices for coach class. Now, I ran this by. We printed this up last year on the 1st, and I ran this by my lounge members, and a lot of them said, "Yeah, those are realistic numbers. I actually do better than that." Some of my members said it's a little bit of a stretch. But the whole point is when you have points, you have a choice. So you have a choice and you don't have to pay more than those prices. Why? Because you can use points and go for free anytime you're not finding better than that. So those were coach prices. Don't pay more than this.
Oh, let me put you back up there again. Love it.
This is business class. Don't pay more than this. Now, does this mean that if you find $1,000 business class fare to Europe that you shouldn't pay? No, it doesn't mean that. That's still a great deal. But when you have points, you have a choice. And you can say, I'm flush on points. I'll go ahead and, I'll cash it out for $1,000 flight for 4 people. Or if you don't have a lot of points, you might say, okay, well, I'll pay $1,000 because that's still a great deal for business class.
Right.
Without points, you don't have a choice and you pay what the market will bear. So here we are back to rule 1, always have points.
Yes. Rule 1 is go where the deals are. And number 2 is always have points. Now I see a lot of questions in here. My friend Brooke is here. Hi, Brooke. We're going to get to your questions, but I'm so excited to see you here. We also have a guide section here in the Jagut Village on Facebook. So there is a ton of information here too, not to worry of feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't, but knowing where to start, definitely go to the free guide section. So let's get through all this today, Joel, and then we will pull up some questions at the end as well. Don't think we're ignoring you, but we have a lot. You have a lot to say today. You have a lot to say every week.
Because we got to dive in. But let me highlight a couple that Mia, you can help me remember. So, Natasha, let's come back to that. Very good question, and I think today's topic will help with that. Don't pay more than this. Is that one-way round trip? That is round trip. So those seem those seem very optimistic, and that's the whole point. When you have the luxury of having a stash of frequent flyer points, you get to be optimistic with what you're willing to pay. So a couple great questions. We'll come back to that. If you don't have a ton of points and they're spread out, we call that having a yard sale of points. We're going to try to fix that today.
And we'll come back to you too, Jenna. If I have United miles, how do I use them towards partner airlines? Juicy question.
Getting into some advanced stuff, but intermediate stuff. But yeah. So let's remember our basic foundation. Bad is 1 cent per point or less. Now, here's the thing. Most people think that all points are equal and, big deal. Like 100,000 points is 100,000 points, whether I apply it towards a gift card or towards a statement credit or a free iPad or whatever. But that's simply not true. Like, it is mostly true with all of that stuff. And it is about 1 cent per point when you do that. However, when you know how to take advantage of that for flights and for hotels, it can be worth way more, as in 3 to 25 cents per point.
Right.
It's funny. I used to always brag about my personal record was and still is 23 cents per point. In other words, I took $100,000 or 100,000 points and got 24,000 in redemption value. I got two $12,000 first class suites, private suites on a plane for $1,000 worth of points.
Which trip was that again, Joel?
That was to Singapore.
Oh, that was a Singapore.
In a private suite. And, the funny thing is people paid more than $1,000 for a single coach seat on that plane. We paid $26 and used $1,000 worth of points for 2 tickets. So we could quit right now. And if you just trust the fact that not all points are created equal, then you can start hoarding your points and not going and wasting them on iPads or gift cards or statement credits, because that better potential is out there. So, and again, just as an example, like some people might say penny per point, 3 cents a point. Who cares? It's 2 cents. No, but if you have 100,000 points, that adds up. So then you're talking about $1,000 mediocre value, versus $3,000 to $25,000, nothing to sneeze at.
Look at that difference between that. I mean, even just on the low end is still $2,000 more than the equation of 100,000. That's pretty crazy. It is. I see some pretty advanced questions.
By the way,
you always see
one of our members just beat that record. I forget if it was 27 or 29 cent redemption, but she just used, I think it was 25,000 points. I don't remember the points, but whatever it was like a $14,000 flight that she used, I think 25 or maybe 40,000 points for.
And I'm gonna pitch real quick on the travel coaching program. These are folks that some of them only started. Stephanie that was in Hawaii last week. I mean, she only started 4 months ago with the travel coaching program. And these are folks that were kind of in the same boat as I am, haven't traveled that much or had some points. So you can start making good on a lot of these deals right away, which is fun.
Yeah. So if you've been watching us for a while and are interested in our paid coaching program, type interested. And, someone on our team will reach out and see what we have that can help. If you haven't been watching us for a while, type free coaching and we can help you find the best resources in our entire library of free resources here in Jagut Village. So rather than going and watching 25 or 30 hours of different trainings, we can talk to you. We can find out what your travel plans are in the next 6 or 8 months. And we can say, oh gosh, I would skip straight to this training. That will help a lot.
Does this link still work, Joel? The one I just threw in there?
Yep.
Okay, good.
So do that, or just type in free coaching.
Free coaching. Yes.
We'll get that to you.
Yes, yes, yes. We have folks that are watching along with us that are part of our team too. So you'll see them responding to you directly in the comments as well.
There we go. So let's see. Next. So we have good points. We have bad points. Now this is the impetus, or my conversations this week are the impetus for this topic.
Right.
I've talked with, at least a dozen people in the past couple weeks who have tons of points with Delta or with United or with Marriott or with Hilton. And in almost all of those cases, you can do far better by having what we call universal points or flexible points. And we recommend Chase or Amex. A lot of people say, what about Capital One? Capital One it's a close third, but there are multiple reasons that are an entire class on why Chase and Amex should come first. But the bottom line is, Capital One is a good option too if you have a lot of Capital One points. Not all is lost, especially in the past few months. They just stepped up and started giving a lot more value for their points. But the bottom line is Capital One is a lot more difficult to work with if you are a beginner at the world of point hacking. In other words, if you aren't consistently getting more than a penny per point, that means you're in the beginner category, and you may as well just shift all of your spend to Chase Ultimate Rewards or Amex membership rewards. Those are the flexible points that we talk about. You don't have to know what to do with them. What you do really need to consider is stop spending all of that money on Delta, or stop spending all of that money on Marriott or Hilton or United, because by having flexible points, you can get a lot more out of those points.
Joel, I have a question now that we can throw in there if you're ready.
Sure.
For the gift card. And I'm going to I typed it in here. Here we go. Ready? Gift card question coming up here. Let me pull this up. What is the lowest amount you should ever redeem points for? You like that? You like how Brooke just types it to us? I type it up there and it's right up there on the screen. So let's see what we get here.
We can take the answer off the screen while people are answering.
There you go. Oop. 3 cents. I think Jenna was first.
Well, and I think that's fair. That's probably good based on this. Now, these are just benchmarks. These are recommendations. The bottom line is you can get as much, you can get as much as 25 or 30 cents. But yeah, the whole idea is you don't want to redeem them for less than 2 or 3 cents. I think in all fairness, they were paying attention, so we'll give it to 3 cents. But 2 cents isn't bad. That's 100% improvement. So if you're one of those people that I talked to in this past week, and you have 1 million Delta points, that's great. But it's going to be very, very hard to get much more than 1 cent. It can be done. You can get 2 and 3 cents out of Delta, but it's a lot easier to get 2, 3, 5 cents. And that's, if you get 5 cents out of flexible points by transferring to another airline that is more generous with the points or the value of the flight that they'll give you for a low amount of points, then that's a 500% improvement. So your 1 million points with Delta could have been the equivalent of 5 million points. So again, the big thing here is just never, ever, ever redeem for less than a penny per point. Strive, if you're just getting your feet wet, strive for 2 cents, 3 cents. Eventually you get pretty good at this. You learn how to find these deals, and you can get 5 or 10 cents, or sometimes in rare occasions, 20 or 25 cents.
And thank you for throwing us that bone to not feel so bad about going to 25 cents, because I think if you're just starting and it's daunting, right?
Those are rare, but those are kind of like that unicorn deal that we hoard our points for, because when we find it, it's a crazy luxury that most of us would never spend our own real hard-earned cash on.
Right.
In our private suite, I don't care how well I'm doing, I'm not going to drop $24,000 for, a few hours of extra comfort.
You're fancy, but you're not that fancy.
Right.
Right.
But when it's points that you earn passively and you learn how to manipulate and arbitrage, unlike you can do with cash back, why not? So let's get some specific examples. Delta, specifically Delta. Oops. Okay. So this is a real world example. The very first time I did this, the very first time I applied, now it was before I wrote this, but these strategies right here would get you enough points for 2 round trip flights to Delta. My wife and I did that. You can search for it. Our $22 flights to Hawaii. They would have cost $1,300. And if we were on Delta, it would have taken 60,000 points. So that's $600 worth of points minimum, which is a redemption value of 2 cents per point. So not bad.
Right.
But
it could be better.
By using my flexible Chase points, I was able to get that exact same flight for 25,000 points or 5.2 cents. So, if you have a family of 4, that's basically getting $5,200 in value from your 100,000 points versus Delta, which wouldn't quite get 2 of you on a plane. So you can get 4 of you on a plane for a $5,200 value. You can't even get two of you on a plane with Delta.
Right.
This isn't a marriage, folks. We don't have to be loyal to Delta just because they give us a free bag and promise an upgrade every once in a while.
Right. That's not cheating. Let me throw this question in here because I know this is burning for folks because we have Delta up here. I know it.
This is why this is a painful discussion when people brag about their $1 million or $1 million Delta points or their 500,000 Delta points. You're stuck with Delta. Now, you can use Delta to book on other airlines, but you have to pay Delta prices. And here's the thing. Most domestic carriers aren't anywhere near as generous with their point redemptions as all foreign carriers. So by getting those points out of Chase Ultimate Rewards and transferring them, you've got a dozen different airlines to choose from if you're with Amex. You got 8 or 9 different airlines to choose from if you're with Chase.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can transfer to KLM or Flying Blue, those can still get you on a Delta plane,
right?
But it'll take a fraction in as many points. So those are called I call those second tier transfer partners. So it's easy to just transfer to Delta, but you're not going to get the value. Whereas if you transfer out to foreign carriers that don't cost as much, I mean, here in the United States, almost all of our redemption values are higher than everywhere else in the world. So why not transfer to somewhere else in the world where you can stretch those points farther?
Let me throw this in here real quick too, Vicki. When you give these examples, I don't want to dive too deep in the weeds of Chase Amex points. Are you booking on their travel portals? This is portals or transferring their points to individual airline or hotel programs?
So great question. I can talk. I don't think I did a slide on it, but there's a big difference there too. And you have to know the different values. If you're booking on their travel portal, you're limited to a penny and a half a piece. That's it. You can't get more.
On the Chase or Amex travel portal,
yes.
right?
So if you book on theirs, but by getting them out of the portal and transferring directly to the airline, that's where you get the real value.
Mm-hmm.
Now that reminds me, we actually did an exact topic on that. I think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, where we talked about redemption multipliers. So this is an example of how you can multiply those redemptions. And instead of getting a $1,300 flight for 60,000 points, we got the exact same $1,300 flight. We still flew Delta Metal for 25,000 points. So we could have put 4 people on a plane when the Delta points wouldn't have even gotten more than one on the plane.
Sure.
Yeah. If you're interested, if you missed that video, type in redemption multipliers in the comments and we can send you that training. It's a great one. It shows how to learn where to transfer your points to get more value out of hotels and where to transfer points to get more value out of airlines.
Let me pop this in here real quick. Jill's with us. Hi, Jill. She says she's sitting on the beach in Hawaii. Ah, what a great brag. And the sun is very bright. I'm here with my family at 5 and couldn't have ever done it without the Jay Good Way. So thank you, Jill, for popping that in there. And I love it here when they're actually on the vacay and piping up. It's really good.
We got to meet Jill twice. She came to our Denver meetup and as well as our San Diego meetup last couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Once you're a Jay Gooder, man, we hang out together a lot. Yeah. It's great.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, all of us are travel addicts, and almost all of us, most of our friends don't listen to us. So we're like, you could travel too. None of our friends pay attention. You know, most people are like, oh, I'm busy, or oh, I can't do this, or whatever.
Yes, yeah. We sometimes call this the blue in the face talks, right? This week, I think you were blue in the face.
Yes.
We're talking. Our group, though, we listen. And some of these questions that I see out there, y'all, this is the type of thing that we discuss in the lounge. Like if you have something coming up travel-wise, that's really fun. It's kind of a Rubik's Cube conversation. Like we all get in there and try and figure out how to work that problem. It's pretty fun. So not as only is it the Jay Good experts, but other folks who bring in their expertise as well. And again, that's in our private Jay Good Lounge travel coaching program. So type interested, and I see some of you doing that too. So, and we do have this question. Can you do any of this with cards that don't have annual fees? Do you mind if I pop up the Jay Good cards link?
Sure.
Then? Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. And let's just talk about, and this is one of those mindset shifts that we all have to get past. So I was brought up, by very disciplined parents, financially, could also say frugal. And I was taught like, no, you don't pay, cards are free. Credit cards are free. You don't pay fees for that. But as with anything, if you can justify the expense with something that is more valuable than that, well, then it's a no-brainer and you should pay the fee. And quite frankly, a lot of these fees are meant to keep the people out. And I kind of have a theory that most credit card companies, they're not after the people who like charge it up and pay it off right away. They want the people who are going to carry a balance and pay 18, 20, 24%.
Yes.
They're robbing you by putting the fees up there, because a lot of the people who are, frugal and financially minded are like, oh, I'm not going to pay a fee. I was raised that way. And a lot of other people are going to run it up and just say, oh, I'm going to get a lot of points. And then here's the thing that the credit card companies know. They know that once most people switch credit cards, they're never going to switch again. I mean, think about it. How many years have people, on average, how many years have you had the card that you use most in your wallet? I'd be willing to bet that most people have had the same old card that's earning a penny per dollar spent for 10, 15, 20 years. And credit card companies know that. And so they throw up a fee to kind of like, those are the responsible people who pay their bills on time and do all that. And they're targeting the people who don't pay their bills on time as much.
Jump ship,
If you learn how to take advantage of it, and when the card is no longer working hard for you, go switch and get a different card. Well, then it works. What is meant to work against you works for you. And any card out there, whether it's $100 or $700 a year, you can usually read the fine print of that card and find out how to get that money back. Not just in points, in actual credits. Like they will pay for your Uber rides. They will pay for hotel stays. They will reimburse you for airline fees,
for
baggage.
clear. Right. like
For Clear,
for
yeah.
for using Clear. And you'll see that in a lot of our talks, y'all, and in our group as well. And I see people comment in the village of, hey, I just got reimbursed, or I use this. Oh gosh, even like I use this at Nordstrom. So please don't, try and think outside the box again of changing your way of thinking, that it's not just, oh, I just spent $700 and that's just gone. It's not like that. They literally do set it up. So there's reimbursement. But then, me, I'm always going to give the hard talk too of everybody in this group. When we talk about these cards, one, we're not saying cancel the other cards. That's not great for your credit, right? And then we're also we really push that if you are going to make any of these spends, we do not want you racking up a bunch of debt. That is not
Absolutely
what we're talking about. That we're talking about you spend exactly what you can afford. So it's a transfer spend almost. You're going to start spending more wisely, the same amount of money that you spent before. That's my soapbox.
Yes. And you know what? We don't have it right now, but we will queue it up.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone is on here who doesn't have at least a 650 credit score, that's kind of the minimum to be eligible for these travels. We have a video. So type in credit help.
Yep.
And credit score. Type in credit score, and we'll send you a report on how to bump your score 50 to 200 points, just with some simple tricks that you can do to get yourself into that window where you could become eligible for these cards.
And we're not talking about anything that costs, by the way. And I always say too that I'm one of those people. When I first was still hosting this was one of our, like probably March or April of last year that we did that, and it's in the free guide section as well. And I have upped my credit by 150 points. Hey now.
Simple little tricks. What's the other one? I'm big on the phrases. Little hinges swing big doors. You can do some little tricks to boost your score by 100 or 200 points. All right, let's get back to some just real life examples. We're still on Hawaii. I went to Hawaii, and actually I'm just using these are current examples, but when I went, it was the same thing. I followed the advice of someone and blindly just got a Marriott card because 100,000 points sounded like a lot of points. They're not when you're stuck with Marriott. But I basically went and I got several nights free at a Marriott because I was started with 100,000 and I did some spends to get up to 120,000 points. Got 4 nights, and then they had a promo, so I got the 5th night free. Not bad. But basically, it took 30,000 points a night for a $400 a night resort. I thought it was a pretty nice place. My wife was not all that impressed. Mm-hmm. She's the pickier of the two of us. And what's funny is we went to, we were just down the street from the Grand Hyatt, which was an amazing, beautiful resort. And we've got a lot of lounge members that have been to the Hyatt Grand, and it's a $750 a night resort for their base room. Mm-hmm. And those are 25,000 points. So again, we come back to not all points are created equal. If you've got your points just with Marriott, you are stuck just with Marriott. If you've got your points with Chase, you can book it with United, you can transfer those points to United, to Southwest, to half a dozen other airlines, or to Hyatt. So you don't need as many points. B, you can do whatever you want with them, including, do you want to transfer 30,000 points for a $400 a night resort? Or do you want to transfer 25,000 points for a resort that's almost twice as expensive and probably arguably twice as nice?
Right. And look at that difference between 1.3 cents per point as opposed to 3 cents per point. And this is that thinking that it's so hard to get out of. And again, let's be clear, when we're saying to transfer those points, it's not booking through that portal. It's transferring them out and then booking through directly. That's such a great pro tip.
But yeah, if you get lured to a credit card because of 100,000 points, or Hilton, who often offers 120, 150, 180,000 points, you know why? Their points aren't worth anything. So they have to give away more points. So everyone gets lured into this because they don't know anything about this trade. They make that switch and then they go, well, gosh, that was a lot of trouble for a couple free nights. And then they just you know, changing habits takes a lot of effort. So they have that damn card in their wallet for the next 20 years.
It's the kind where it literally gets worn
Hilton
out.
won. Hilton won in that because people got lured into their stupid card that isn't worth anywhere near as much as other cards. And then they're like, oh, well, that was stupid. That was a lot of effort. I'm not doing that again. And guess what? Hilton remains in their wallet for the next 20 years, earning mediocre, lame points. And that's why 90% of people are like, oh, I tried points once. It didn't work. It does work. You just have to know how to work it.
I'm just going to throw this in here real quick. There's somebody saying I'm getting ready to remodel my kitchen, and which is the best card to use to pay for everything. I mean, that you can get a free vacation on that kitchen, right? If you're going to the right card. So let me throw the J Goot cards up here again.
So unfortunately, I don't know. And in fact, one of our students corrected me this morning because I said, oh, someone's getting engaged. They should do that, this and that. And they said, oh, that promo ended last month. And I was like, oh. So here's the thing. These rules change all the time. This is why you want to research it. Shameless plug for J Goot Lounge. We have what are called, so we have home study options where you can just sit at home alone and watch our training that goes from beginner to intermediate to advanced. We have group coaching and one-on-one coaching. And with those, we call them checkpoints. So we've got 6 different coaches where you just check in. And when you just get started, you check in at checkpoint 1 and we make sure you've got the basics covered. Checkpoint 2 is a lot of fun. And that question is what we say, oh, go attend checkpoint 2. Because you basically sit in with a coach and you say, okay, I have this many points already. I have these cards already. I want to travel to this place because that's important. Some points may serve your travels better than others.
Right.
What card should I get? And that's actually a checkpoint. Like anytime you're contemplating getting a card, because remember, we don't necessarily preach filling your wallet with cards. We preach getting the right cards that will work hardest for you. So it's a very important decision, and the rules change all the time. Literally, like my student corrected me by saying, "Oh, yeah, that bonus is over," and I would have almost just said it right now, and it would have been bad advice.
See, we catch ourselves because we're constantly on the lookout for that too. So thank you for that update.
But the great question, and you're very much on the right track. Anytime you've got a big set of expenses coming up, that's a great time to, if you don't have a lot of points, it's a great time to go and get some. Because you don't have to, like, you can just run up the card on that one expense, pay it off. Remember, we always pay off. We don't carry interest.
That's right.
And rack up a bunch of points and throw it in a drawer. Like, you don't have to like change your checking account or remember to start swiping everything at the grocery store. You just run it up on that one several $1,000 charge, and your credit card company says, "Oh, thanks for doing business with us. Here's 100,000 points."
Right. Let me dumb it down. Have your money make money. Have your spend make money. And yes, do not carry over that balance. We do not want you paying interest. That literally cancels out everything, just to let you know. We don't want to shame anybody into it, but it literally can cancel out all the good work you're doing if you're carrying a balance and paying interest.
Hey, I just thought of a good question. And let's answer. Someone else said, how do we find out about the course? All of our paid programs are by phone consult. You can set up a free coaching session. So just type in free coaching or type interested. Either way, we'll call you and we will talk with you. We will learn about what your travel goals are. And quite honestly, half the time we're like, you don't travel often enough to justify our paid course. Here's some free stuff. Go apply it.
Just in case you think it's a big hard sell from us, it's not. We really want you to do the best thing because we love having the right people in the lounge as well.
Yeah.
Because they add to it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Or you can go to jgootvillage.com/free coaching or type in free coaching in the comments and operators are standing by. Something like that.
Well, with that said, let's do a question. So for those listening earlier, what is the minimum score that Joel recommended as having good credit card status that will get you these valuable travel cards?
I wish we had music.
What's the magic number we're looking for?
Oh, I don't know who this is, but boom chikalaka. Look at that.
There we go. Ooh, lots of people paying attention. I love it.
Yes. All right. I'm going to pull up a few people just so I can show that.
Good job. I like it.
Attention.
Thanks.
It's good folks right here. There you go. And I
All
can't
right.
tell who
First
that first
person
one
to
was, but
answer, we will send $100 travel
Yes.
savings card. Remember,
We'll give it to
it's not a gift card. It's a savings card. So it's 20 to 60% off of the best prices you typically find on Travelocity, Expedia, etc. So you find a $500 hotel, well, you can knock $100 off of it with that savings card.
I won't.
So let's talk about status versus no status. I had a lot of these conversations too, and it's funny because, we'll talk and people will just rattle off all of their credentials. Oh, I have this many miles and I have this and I have lifetime platinum with this and lifetime platinum with that. And that's great. A lot of them earned that status on the company dime, which is awesome. You don't even have to pay for it yourself. And, but here's the thing, like we've taken teachers on teacher salaries and shown them how to get a guaranteed seat in first class. Whereas those people with lifetime status that is the highest status possible will get bumped from what we teach our teachers or plumbers or whatever, regular wage earners, including me, and they can get on first class guaranteed. Whereas the status people are paying for coach and crossing their fingers, hoping to get upgraded.
It's so nerve-wracking too. You and I have been traveling for a long time, that nerve-wracking crapshoot of whether I'm going to get on there. So I love that. Yeah. I love that we can kind of bypass that.
So Latoya says she's a teacher. We have lots of teachers.
I know, I was going to say.
Great place to start is our free guide. Type free guide in the comments and we'll send you that, as well as some follow-up trainings to that. So first we show you how to go and get the points. Then we show you how to take those points and multiply them into more. Once you do that, well, then you can, it becomes very addicting because you start to passively earn points that are 2 to 5 to 25 times more valuable than cash back would be. That's what we teach. We teach the basic level to get you a free flight or two in coach, maybe even Caribbean, Mexico. Probably not going to get the long haul flights with the basics that we teach, but it will introduce you to the world of free travel.
Shout out to our teachers, by the way. We have a lot of teachers in the audience.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We love you. We appreciate you.
Including my wife. When I started this company 5 years ago, she would constantly say, yeah, that doesn't work for me. I can only travel during spring break. And we said, all right, well, let's figure out how to solve that problem.
And you have. Oh, you sure did. And I love that. And tell the story real quick of, I know that she had to, you ended up just like having her take off one day to accommodate a trip. So there are ways to think outside the box too, as far as how much time you have off, right? There it is.
So like this, this has basically been my general rule. And again, are these optimistic prices? Yes, because I have the freedom to be picky because I have lots of points.
Yeah.
But yeah, it fits this rule. Don't pay more than $200 to Caribbean or Mexico.
Let me make you solo again. There it
is. There we go. So I'm pointing to Caribbean, Mexico. Don't pay more than $200. When I started this company 5 years ago, and when Michelle and I were dating, I called her one day and said, hey, any chance you can take an extra day off for Thanksgiving? And she said, maybe. Why?
She said, are you worth it?
Because I found $110 flights to Cabo.
Right.
So we went to Cabo over Thanksgiving. And if we flew back on Sunday, we went Wednesday to Sunday. If we flew back, or Wednesday to Monday, if we flew back on Sunday, they were going to be like $400, $450 flights. By flying back on Monday, they were $110. No points required, just some common sense. Look every day, go where the deals are. And a lot of people say, well, I don't have that flexibility. Well, she's a teacher. We had that flexibility. And if we wanted to leave Sunday so she could take, so she could make the next day, it would have cost us $600 extra.
Oh, you'll make the time when you want to not spend.
Yeah. So she took an unpaid day off. We saved $600 and we went on a cheap vacation that probably wouldn't have happened otherwise.
And that's a mindset shift too. A lot of this really is a mindset shift. And then you have things like this. I bought a timeshare, told my points gave me an added advantage. Lies.
Oh, don't get me started on timeshares.
I know.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. That was a that was a rabbit hole. What's that?
So before this, I was a consultant. I helped people advertise on Google, and my biggest client was a company that got paid big bucks to get people out of timeshares.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one. Like, people don't know it until they stop using them, but timeshares are worthless the second you walk out the door. I take that back. 90% of timeshares are worthless the second you walk out the door.
That's still a high percentage.
Rabbit hole. Again, this is why we keep this basic, because you can go down so many rabbit holes in this world. So let's get back to status, no status.
Yes.
We teach people to earn points passively. Earn points in an evergreen fashion so they replace themselves. You don't have to go and churn credit cards. You have to find the 2 or 3 credit cards that will work hardest for you.
Yes.
And then by doing that, you earn points, and you have the ability to say, no, thanks, I don't want to pay that. Or you have the ability to say, that's a 10-hour flight. Even though I have lifetime platinum status with United or American or Marriott or whatever, you're not guaranteed an upgrade. Whereas if you just earn points passively, like way faster than you could earn cash back, you have the luxury of saying, I don't want to risk a 12-hour flight in coach. I want a guaranteed seat. And so you can basically use points. And while people who have lifetime status with American or United or any of the big 3, they're paying $500 for a coach, thinking that's a good deal and hoping for an upgrade. And we've got people that are walking onto the plane and guaranteed a seat in first class for $100 in taxes plus points that they earned passively. So,
big difference for sure.
Status, I mean, it's great, but it's not a guaranteed solution. Points are a guaranteed solution. Case in point, this is dated January 13th, so 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Clients in Jagoot Lounge. This was from the points that they earned from one of the cards that we recommend in our travel guide. This was, I don't know, several months after, maybe even 5 or 6 months after they got started. But most of us aren't going to drop what that flight cost. That was, I believe it was a $6,000 flight. I don't know if she said it. 13 hours. You want to do that in coach?
Oof.
Or do you want to do it with points that you earned with like half an hour of extra effort per year?
And I love that, again, that she's only been in the group for 5 or 6 months. And I mean, we only started it not that long ago. And Brooke, thank you for answering that question, because it says when you transfer points from a card to account, let's say Hyatt, you have to be a member of the rewards. Yes, that is correct. And no, it doesn't cost you anything. So yes, it makes sense to go ahead and sign up and have accounts for all these different places that you can transfer the points to. You don't have to pay for it. So just get it set up.
Well, the other cool thing too, like some of these, they'll have sales. So everyone's fighting for these points that you're sitting on in Chase and Amex. And every once in a while, certain hotels will say, oh, hey, flash sale, transfer your points to us and we'll give you a 50% bonus. So suddenly 100,000 points become 150,000 points.
Right.
Whereas if they've already got you, if you went and got a Marriott card because they gave you 100,000 points, you're stuck with Marriott. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I could throw a dart at or I could, like the redemption multiplier video that we did.
Right.
I could print out that map and throw a dart at the Marriott places and throw a dart at Hyatt. And 9 out of 10 times, Hyatt is going to be way more valuable.
Yeah, that's what we saw even with the ones in Hawaii. That was interesting. There was the one that was even a higher rating and was less points.
Yeah,
that was
wasn't
crazy.
It like 70,000 points for a lower rating versus 25,000 high points.
Yeah, that was a head scratcher and amazing. Like, nope. And I love this comment. I'm not sure it is. That's what I need to learn. It says, learn from you. I want guaranteed first class to Italy. I'll be messaging you. I love that. I'll be messaging you. Yes, please.
Well, so those are just a few examples. And again, the big reason for this is I had a lot of very, very painful conversations with people that are, worked for years, whether it was through a lot of their own spend in their businesses or through travel on the company dime or whatever. But the thing is, like, if you're locked into Delta or if you're locked into United, you're locked in. You have no choice. You have to pay what their rates are. And sure, Delta, you can book other SkyTeam partners, but you have to book it through Delta and you have to pay Delta prices. If you keep those points to yourself in Amex membership rewards or in Chase Ultimate Rewards, or even in Capital One Venture points, I mean, they've gotten a lot better. But again, we recommend Chase and Amex first. It's just easier to work with. Like by keeping them there, you can say, whoa, that's a screaming deal on United. I'm going to book on United. Whoa, that's a screaming deal with Hilton. Transfer to Hilton. Whereas you don't have that choice when you're stuck with an individual brand. So the moral of today's story, stop spending on that individual airline or that individual hotel brand. Start spending with Chase or Amex that contribute to membership or Ultimate Rewards. You don't even have to know what you're going to do with the points because you can do just about anything you want. You can get on any brand of airline, almost any brand of airline with either of those points.
And we had that whole list. Well, that was great. We went through that whole list of airlines too. And we'll post that link again. Like we literally pulled up a website and showed you what some of those codes meant and so forth. That was actually really, really helpful for me too. So I'm not sure who it was, but saying I was driving and listening to you, but couldn't comment. The redemption I got was 27.9 cents per point.
8 cents.
Yeah. That's pretty much
fantastic.
That's awesome too. And somebody says, I gather you like Hyatt. What about Hilton?
No. I'm not even polite about it anymore. Stop spending on Hilton. And I'm saying that like adamantly.
We're not saying don't stay there, but we're just saying, don't use their credit card.
Type free guide, read this guide, and stop spending on Marriott. Stop spending on, I'm sorry, I've been polite to these guys, but I'm tired of them just ripping people off. Their points aren't as valuable. And I'm not saying go and get a Hyatt card. I'm saying get if you like Hyatt, which is typically where you get the most value of your points, get a Chase card because you can transfer to Hyatt. You can transfer to Southwest, or you can transfer to United, or you can transfer to Singapore Air and get yourself a private suite.
Which was a really great comment that you made. Like, and then there could be a deal where they say, hey, if you stay here, we'll give you this many points. And then you transfer it over there. Like you said, you're not stuck in it as well. Somebody did ask Chase Ultimate Rewards or Amex membership rewards. Depends on what they're looking for, right?
Yep. And those are personal choices. The beauty of the goal of this guide, I keep throwing this out there. The goal of this guide is to, like, there isn't a question out there where my answer won't be, if you don't have one or both of those cards in your wallet, the answer is no. Plain and simple. And we've got 14 pages of why. It's actually 3 pages of step-by-step, and then it's 11 pages of proof. Just like unbelievable redemption values that people have redeemed. We've got why it helps with your credit score. We've got sample redemptions of my past 12 redemptions at the time I did it. And it was an average of, I got $4,600 in flights for $500 in taxes and fees. You can't do that with Marriott points. You can't do that with Hilton points.
Right. And then let me just put this out there. Nothing wrong with Hilton or Marriott, like per se, the properties, but the points programs are not valuable. That's what we're saying.
And it's not that you can find value in those. You just have to work a lot harder.
It's a lot more
work. And if
work.
you have to work, if you're stuck with those points and you have to, like go and stay on the wrong dates or go to the other side of the world to get value out of it, why not get universal points that you can transfer to Hilton when Hilton is a good deal, or transfer to Marriott when Marriott is a good deal, or when Marriott's offering a sale? So the big thing here is, like, you have so much more flexibility. And you get to be a free agent, and you could say, yeah, thanks for the status, United. And, like, A, your coach flight is 20% more than someone else's coach flight. B, I'm not guaranteed to get on it. C, I could transfer to a foreign carrier and get on your plane for a third of the points that you're charging.
Now, don't freak out, y'all.
Why
That's a
would
little
you
bit
give-
advanced, but it's
Why would
good.
you give United your money? You know,
Right.
like you can get so much better by being a free agent. And yes, again, the reason we got a little technical here, the reason we don't get into intermediate and advanced topics is like it does start to get a lot more complicated. So the Village keeps it nice and simple.
Right.
Go get a Chase Sapphire or go get an Amex Platinum or Gold and learn to maximize the value of those. We don't preach any different in the lounge because that's your foundation. It's the number one most important rule. Can you work with a Capital One card? Sure. We'll show you how, but it's harder.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder to do.
That's a great point. It's just how much work do you want to do? And that really is what we're trying to preach here. We're not saying anything is off the table. It's just how much work do you want to do for that too? There's somebody that says, I have 2 Hyatt cards for over 48 months. I have 2 reward nights. If I cancel my cards, well, I lose my reward night. Well, I wouldn't cancel your card. Just start using your spend somewhere else. And I'm going to throw this in one more time. And let's talk about this just for a second. When we put these links up here, we are paying attention every day to what's going on with the deals. So these are not links that we put in there because we get a kickback per se, right? We're not putting them in there because we're told, hey, push this. We're putting these card links in there because we think these are the best deals and what's going on right now. Right?
Right. Yeah. And those, I mean, typically it's going to be, the Chase card and an Amex card. That's kind of the top 2. And quite frankly, those are for 80% of travelers. That's all you'll ever need. Mm-hmm. And so we're not saying you have to join our paid coaching program to find better cards because you might not ever need more.
Right.
But
here's a comment too. I have a Delta Platinum Amex. I couldn't even get the words out. I have a Delta Platinum Amex card.
Stop spending on Delta, please.
Yeah, just get the other Amex, the Amex Platinum. Don't cancel. I have a Delta United, or what do I have? An Amex Delta card. I thought I say this every time. Remember when we first started talking? I'm like, ooh, I have a Delta Gold. I was over here throwing my weight around. You're like, that's a hard stop. No.
Yeah. So here's a quick thing and we talk about this in our credit video. So it's not just for people with bad credit. Like if you're in that mid to high 600 range, it won't hurt to bump that score into the 700. So you'd increase your odds.
Never hurts.
So type credit score. If you want that guide, we can send it to you. Give us a day. We have to load it up. So it's not like just a random YouTube link. But if you have a Delta, if you have a Marriott, it's worth, you want to look at the value. If it's like the $100 a year card, you probably get, enough benefit in free nights per year or free luggage or something. If it's the premium expensive card, if you've had it for a long time, that might be worth considering downgrading to the cheaper card. If you've had it under a couple of years, it's probably worth just canceling. Either way, you want to shift your spend. Whether you cancel the card or not, you want to get a new card. Don't let them talk you into upgrading a card. You want to get a new platinum card. You want to get a Amex Platinum, not Amex Delta Platinum, Amex Platinum. Big difference.
And good point about don't let them upgrade you into a different one, because there have been deals. I've seen that several times in the lounge where there are great deals, but it's not applicable to someone who upgraded. So you just kind of start fresh. And I know that can feel a little uncomfortable, but it's just about shifting your spend.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the big thing is one of those 2 cards. If you don't have at least one of them in your wallet, it's probably worth putting them in your wallet and stopping spend with any individual airline. I can't think of one off the top of my head where that's a good long-term card.
Yeah.
There is an advanced strategy. We actually call it the bookshelf series, and I'm not going to go into it, but there is a time and a place for individual airline or individual hotel cards. But that's an advanced strategy that just isn't necessary, and it's not necessarily going to get you the best mileage. No pun intended, or I guess pun is intended, huh? It's not going to get you the best mileage compared to a flexible card.
Okay, I agree. I agree. Boy, we have, but we're probably wrapping up here, but I'll tell you, we have almost 580 comments.
Awesome.
I think we might have a record today too. So just as a reminder, how we're going to give away this very last gift savings card is just by random number generator. So you tell me when you're ready, Joel, and if you're, are you wrapping up on any of your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a good place to wrap up.
Well, let me do.
Yeah.
Hey, drum roll, please, sir. 103. Hey,
Commenter 103.
Commenter 103. And so Brooke will count through these, and Brooke will get in touch with you on that as well for that last card. This was quite a popular topic today. You had a lot to say. Yeah.
You know, I have been very polite with this, but again, like I'm kind of, it's just too hard to watch people like have these hundreds of thousands of points only to learn that it's worth like 4 or 5 nights when they could have been worth, you know, like vacations of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Or multiple vacations with flight and hotel by just having the right points. So yeah, and that's, I'll probably go back to being, you know, polite and diplomatic about it. But I kind of hit a tipping point of like, you guys, you got to quit spending. Like, why are you so loyal with Delta? They're not taking care of you when you're flying on those 12-hour flights. You're not getting those upgrades then.
I think this video will stay evergreen.
Sure,
I think this video will stay evergreen, and we can just point to that when you're when we just say, go over and watch this feisty video where Joel puts the hammer down on that. And the reason why we're so emphatic about it, y'all, is because we don't want to see you wasting money. That's why. That's
fair. Why. We got to come back to this. I did address it in the email.
Yes,
so what about Southwest? I love Southwest. I've used Southwest, but only when I had the companion pass. Otherwise, Southwest points are very mediocre points. Southwest points, for the most part, are only worth 1.3 to 1.8 cents. Is that better than a penny a piece? Sure, it's 30 to 80% better. But when you can do 2 or 5 or 10 cents with other carriers, you don't necessarily want a Southwest card. The only time you want a Southwest card is if it's going to help you earn a companion pass that year.
That's
that more than doubles the value of the points. And I say more than doubles the value because you get a free companion every time you fly on Southwest, whether you pay cash or use points. So A, it doubles the value of your points. And B, when you learn the penny per point rule inside and out, you can also learn that, oh no, I'm not going to waste points on that. I'm going to pay cash, and you get free flights for that too. So one last free guide, 2 principles. If you're not familiar with the penny per point rule and the $120 rule, those are 2 rules that will help you decide whether you should redeem your points or whether that cash deal is a great deal that you should use cash instead. So it helps on both sides. It helps with rule 1. It also helps with rule 2. So just type in 2 principles, not to be confused with the 2 rules of the Jagut way.
Yes.
And we'll send you that report.
That was a lot of information today. I love it. And by the way, for those of you requesting a little bit of Gidget, we're just going to have to point to the wall here because she's with her dad right now. So there is my Frenchie Gidget, who is the Jagut mascot almost. We still need to do a show on traveling with pets. So
yes,
stay tuned for that because obviously a lot of us love our pets. So thanks everyone. Gosh, we appreciate all the comments. We're here every Monday and we'll be back next week. So have a great week.
Thanks everyone. Happy travels.